So, by now, I'm sure you've heard of a game called Phasmophobia. You know, that ghost hunting game with a great atmosphere and terrifying interactions. Well, what if I told you there is a similar game, but in my opinion, is better than Phasmophobia? You may be asking yourself now, how is there a game better than Phasmophobia? Well, let's grab our torches and explore the unknown mysteries of Forewarned. When exploring Forewarned, you will notice it has a similar concept to Phasmophobia. Gather your gear, check your objectives, and begin the hunt for a supernatural entity. But instead of going into a haunted home, school, or asylum, you're exploring the ruins of the great and mysterious tombs of Egypt. This is where the games begin to shift from one another. In its sister game Phasmophobia, the houses never really change. The only thing that tends to shift in the locations is the position of the spirit you are tracking down and the item locations. In Forewarned, the only thing that stays the same is the aesthetic appearance of the different tombs. Each and every time you venture into a tomb, the layouts are ever changing. Oh, what is that? Instead of a singular goal of identifying the being that haunts these tombs, you're also treasure hunting, solving puzzles, and fighting off creatures unique to each location. This simple formula allows for a mix of different interactions and experience every time you do a run. Let's move on to some of the mechanics of Forewarned. One thing that truly popped out to me was the ability to upgrade all of the tools at your disposal, from allowing your torch to burn for a longer duration to a much needed inventory upgrade allowing for more carrying capacity for additional treasures and tools. Being able to upgrade your arsenal makes attempting to identify the Magi a simpler task. Speaking of the Magi, let's talk about the different approach the devs have made to identify the entity itself. When compared to its counterpart, I feel the entity in Forewarned is a lot more imposing to deal with as to the ghosts in Phasmophobia. After identifying the Magi and opening the inner tomb, or simply running out of time, the Magi is a constant threat in the run, making for tomb raiding a difficult challenge as the explorers must find a specific lever that is spawned randomly within the tomb in order to escape. Once this lever has been found, the explorers are faced with two different courses of action. One being the ability to just pack everything up and leave, thus ending the run, while the other approach is a more dangerous and time-consuming task as you have taken upon yourself to banish this being from the very tomb it resides in. This banishment ritual is easy to perform, but gathering the requirements in order to proceed with this task can be rather dangerous and may end up ruining a rather smooth run. Luckily for you, the explorer, once identified, your journal will assist you by providing additional hints to survive the threat that haunts the tombs. These hints can be as simple as bringing a flashlight to help ward off the monster, or even bringing a music box in order to distract the creature. Every entity in this game has its strengths and weaknesses, and capitalizing on these is what separates an experienced explorer from the rookies. With the goods out of the way, let's talk about a few negatives. First and foremost has to be some of the enemies in the tombs you encounter. Although they add to the overall environment, some of these enemies feel fairly basic in terms of their behavior. Patrol the tomb, attack the player, and run when hit. With a different variety of enemies, I would really enjoy seeing different patterns to each of their interactions on the map. Next on my list, I feel as though the traps and puzzles can be fairly simple to solve. Most traps mainly involve the swinging of spikes, large spike rollers, or shifting walls. Even the larger puzzles on the map, when attempting to perform a ritual, feels really easy to solve. In the future, I would love to see an increase in difficulty to these puzzles, the higher difficulty you play on, just to add a higher risk versus reward style of play. All in all, this game always has something to do, encounters to be had, and horrors to uncover. I, as of now, will give this game a solid 7 out of 10. Although there is still room for improvement, this game is fairly enjoyable, especially with friends. If you've made it to this part of the video, I'd like to thank you for your time. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe for any and all future content. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.